Welcome back, everyone. You're joining us for a deep dive into, well, something we all know, fear. And specifically, getting past it, stepping outside those comfort zones.
We're digging into the ideas from this document, facingfear.pdf, to really get under the hood of it.
Yeah, because everyone feels it, right? That little voice, or sometimes a loud voice saying, nope, stay put.
Absolutely. It's that invisible barrier.
Yeah.
Holds you back, even when part of you wants to go for it.
Exactly. Like giving that big presentation, or maybe finally getting that side project off the ground.
Or even just saying yes to something new, something unfamiliar. That fear can feel huge.
It really can.
Yeah.
And what's, really central in the material we're looking at is this idea that the real growth, the good stuff, often happens right there on the edge.
Where it feels a bit uncertain, yeah.
So if you're listening, think about those moments for yourself. Hesitating in a meeting, maybe?
Or that anxiety thinking about a career change.
Yeah.
Or even just, talking to someone new.
Yeah, those exact times. That's where these insights we're discussing from facingfear.pdf could really make a difference. So our mission today really is to break this down. Why does fear show up like this? How can we actually face it?
And how do we keep moving, take action, even with that shaky feeling?
Okay, let's start with the why. Why does fear have such a grip?
Well, the document we're digging into points out that fear, at its absolute core, is about survival. It's a mechanism.
Okay.
Deep in the brain, the amygdala, it's constantly scanning for danger. It's like this ancient security system.
Right, the brain's bodyguard, sort of, looking out for threats.
Exactly. And originally, that was about, real physical danger, lions, cliffs, that kind of thing, kept us alive.
Makes sense. Crucial back then.
But here's the tricky part. Our brains, even though they're amazing, don't always differentiate that well.
Differentiate between what? Like a lion and my boss?
Kind of, between actual physical danger and what feels like emotional or psychological risk. Giving a speech, a job interview, being vulnerable.
Ah, okay. So that knot in your stomach before you have to speak publicly?
Yeah.
Or the worry about changing jobs? Even though there's no actual tiger, your brain can react almost the same way.
It can trigger a very similar, very intense alarm. It's trying to keep you safe in the way it understands best. Keep things the same, avoid potential harm.
And this feels like the really crucial bit from the source material. We don't have to be controlled by that old wiring.
Exactly. That's the key takeaway. We can notice the fear, understand, okay, that's my amygdala doing its job, and still choose to act. It doesn't have to be the stop sign.
So it's possible to reframe it. Like, what does the document suggest there?
It suggests thinking of fear not just as danger, but maybe as a signal, a pointer.
A pointer towards what?
Often towards something that actually matters deeply to us, something meaningful, a goal, a value.
Okay.
So leaning into that feeling, navigating it, instead of just backing away, that's where the growth happens. That's what the text emphasizes.
Right. So fear, ancient protector, sometimes gets its wires crossed in modern life. We can work with it. Okay. So let's get practical. What strategies does facingfear.pdf offer? What tools can we actually use?
Yeah, it lays out some really helpful techniques. First up is visualization.
Okay, like picturing things going well.
Exactly, but it's more structured than just positive thinking. Think about athletes, right? They use this all the time.
Right, they mentally rehearse, hitting the shot, running the race.
Yeah. So you apply that to your fear. You vividly imagine yourself successfully doing the thing that scares you.
How does that work practically?
You'd close your eyes, really try to feel it. What does it look like? What sounds are there? How does your body feel after you've done it successfully? Confident, relieved.
Ah, so you're sort of pre-caving the pathway for your brain, showing it a positive outcome is possible.
Exactly. It builds familiarity, makes the brain less likely to just hit the panic button.
Cool. Okay, what's another strategy?
Another one really powerful is called micro-exposure in the document. Think baby steps.
Baby steps. Like exposure therapy.
Very similar principle, yeah.
Yeah.
You gradually expose yourself to the thing you fear, but in really small, manageable doses.
Okay, give me an example. Like if I hate networking.
Right. Maybe the first step isn't walking into a huge room. Maybe it's just introducing yourself to one new person at a small event. Or if posting online feels scary, maybe you start with a private story, then maybe a comment, then maybe a short post. You build up.
Okay, so you desensitize yourself bit by bit. Each small success makes the next step feel a little less daunting.
Precisely. It dials down that fear response gradually. Much less overwhelming than trying to face the huge fear all at once.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, tool number 3 from the document.
This one's called the what if flip. We all do it, right? The negative what ifs.
Oh yeah, what if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if it all goes wrong? The doom spiral.
Totally. So the flip is consciously asking the other what ifs. Like, okay, but what if I actually succeed? Or what if this changes everything for the better? What if this opens up amazing doors?
Ah, so you deliberately counteract the negative spiral with positive possibilities, shifting focus.
Exactly. It forces your brain to consider the upside, not just the potential downside. Simple, but quite powerful.
I like that. Okay, what about in the moment? Like, fear is hitting right now. Anything for that?
Yes, breathwork. Specifically, the document mentions the 4-7-8 technique.
4-7-8 breathing. How does that go again?
Super simple. You breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4.
Okay. 4 in.
Then you gently hold your breath for a count of 7.
Hold for 7.
And then you exhale slowly, completely through your mouth for a count of 8.
4 in, hold 7, 8 out. Why does that specific pattern work?
It directly taps into your parasympathetic nervous system.
Right.
That's the rest and digest system, the opposite of fight or flight.
So it physically calms you down.
Yes. Slows the heart rate, tells your body it's okay to relax. And the great thing, as the document notes, is it's free. You can do it anywhere, anytime. No equipment needed.
That's incredibly practical. Always available. Okay, and the last main strategy.
The last one is about reframing failure.
Oh, we think about it.
Yeah. We tend to see failure as like the absolute end, the opposite of success. Game over.
Right. Which feels awful.
But the document encourages seeing it differently, seeing it as just part of the process, part of learning.
Like data points almost, information gathering.
Exactly. Think about it. Most successful people have failed, often spectacularly along the way. The real thing to fear, the text suggests, isn't failing.
It's staying stuck.
It's staying stuck because you're afraid to fail. It's about seeing failure not as a verdict, but as feedback on the journey.
Wow. Okay, so pulling these together. The big message isn't don't be afraid.
Not at all. It's that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear, acknowledging it's there and moving forward anyway. That's what facingfear.pdf really drives home.
These are really actionable insights. Okay, let's make this even more real. The document shares some stories, right? Examples of people who did this.
Yeah, some really powerful ones. Simone Biles, for instance.
Oh, right. The Olympics, an incredible example.
Absolutely. Considered, the greatest gymnast ever. And she steps back during the Olympics because of mental health struggles, what she called the twisties, a kind of fear block.
That took immense courage to do that on that stage.
Huge. And it opened up such an important conversation, didn't it? About mental strength, sometimes meaning knowing when to pause to protect yourself.
Yeah.
It showed even top performers face intense fear.
Definitely. Who else does the document mention?
Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx.
Right. Started with what, $5,000?
Yeah, just $5,000, no real business background. And the text points out she was terrified of public speaking.
Which is funny now because she's a huge speaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the story goes, she was so scared, she actually signed up for a stand-up comedy class, specifically to tackle that fear head on.
Wow. Talk about micro exposure or maybe macro exposure. That's amazing.
Yeah. Billionaire now, big motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Incredible story of facing the fear directly.
Okay. And one more, Jim Carrey.
Yes. The document brings up that famous story of him writing himself that check.
The $10 million check, right? Before he was famous.
Yeah, way before. He carried it in his wallet. He faced a lot of poverty, rejection. The fear of never making it must have been huge.
And the document connects this to visualization, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. He consistently visualized success alongside writing that check. And then years later, he got paid exactly $10 million for a movie role.
It's not magic, but it shows that combination of belief, visualization, and just not giving up despite the fear.
Exactly. None of these people were fearless. That's the point. They felt the fear and they acted anyway.
So listening to this, maybe ask yourself, what's your version of that? What fear could you face?
Yeah, what's a story you'd love to tell down the line about a fear you tackled and what came from it?
That's a great question to sit with. Okay, so let's talk payoffs. What are the benefits, according to facingfear.pdf, when we consistently do this? Step out, face the fear.
Well, one of the biggest ones mentioned is definitely confidence.
Makes sense.
Every time you face something scary and move through it, even if it's messy, you prove something to yourself.
Like, okay, I can handle discomfort.
Exactly. You build that self-trust muscle. Each act reinforces your belief in your own capability.
Okay, confidence. What else?
New skills. Almost always, growth means doing something new.
Yeah.
So whether it's getting better at speaking up or learning to set boundaries or starting that new project, you gain skills by doing the thing that might initially feel uncomfortable.
And the document suggests this can lead to unexpected good things.
Unexpected opportunities often pop up when you take those risks. New connections, job possibilities, creative ideas, things that wouldn't happen if you stayed safely inside the lines.
Right. And maybe the biggest one, long-term, resilience.
Definitely. Facing fears isn't always easy. There might be setbacks.
Sure.
But navigating those challenges reveals an inner strength you might not have known you had. It builds your ability to handle tough stuff in the future, to bounce back.
FacingFear.pdf includes that quote. It's maybe a bit of a cliche, but it feels true here. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
It really does capture it, doesn't it? Staying comfy feels safe short term, but the text is clear. It limits your potential, your experiences, what you discover about yourself.
So that future version of you, more confident, skilled, resilient, isn't just going to appear.
Nope. As the document implies, that version is waiting just outside the current zone. You have to step towards it.
Okay. We've talked why, how, seen examples, looked at the benefits. Now, action. The document ends with the challenge, right?
Yes. A very clear, actionable challenge for everyone listening.
What is it?
Pick one small fear, something that feels, doable, not overwhelming.
Okay, one small thing.
And then commit to taking just one small action towards it in the next 24 hours.
Just one step. Like what?
Could be making that call you've been avoiding, saying yes to that invite you hesitated on, starting that slightly awkward conversation.
Tiny step, but a deliberate one.
Exactly. And the document encourages sharing it. Maybe leave a comment about what you chose to do. Sharing can be powerful.
Yeah, accountability, connection.
Because the main thing is, fear doesn't have to be the end of the road.
It can be the beginning.
It really can. That first step, even tiny, is often the biggest hurdle.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive, looking at these ideas from FacingFear.pdf. Hopefully it's given you some useful tools, some inspiration.
Remember, feeling fear is totally normal.
But letting it keep you stuck, that part's a choice.
You really do have this. You can take that step.